You're watching South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. Pitts, Sanchez, Daniels, Lovett. This is Channel 7 News at 5.
And in the news at 5 tonight, police widening their search for the suspects who went on a North Dade killing rampage.
Another decision in the retrial of former Miami cop William Lozano, but is this one final?
And television's most controversial talk host pulls off the gloves and takes on a white supremacist. Hello again, everybody. First at 5 tonight, police looking for the killers in the worst shooting in Dade County history. 4
people are dead, 17 hospitals. Susan Kelleher with our top story.
Shut down and boarded up, a Jamaican restaurant where a shooting spree killed 4 people, injured 18. The shooting turned a birthday party into a bloodbath. Shots rang out on the dance floor early Saturday morning. Today, 2 days after the massacre, neighboring businesses fear retaliation from a Jamaican posse.
You never know what can happen. You never know who might come by and want to retaliate from what happened.
You nervous about a possible retaliation?
Yes.
Mary Hopper is so nervous she's closing her store early tonight. Survivors of the gun battle so terrified, cops are keeping their identities a secret. Many fear if a Jamaican posse did this, talking to police is asking for trouble.
It's very clear to anybody that was there that these people, whoever they may be, will shoot. And they're really not very concerned with whom they shoot when they start shooting.
FDLE's Caribbean Crime Unit is actively searching for suspects by computer. Based on witness statements, they punch in names of posse members, hoping to locate possible suspects. One investigator says this shooting is a textbook example of how the posse does business. Investigators say at least one of the people gunned down here appeared to be an intended target. His body was riddled with bullets, but he managed to stagger over to those bushes where he fell to his death. But they say most of the people killed or injured in this bloody massacre were just innocent bystanders. Gunned down in a shower of bullets, the so-called shower posse has become famous for. At this point, investigators don't know a lot. The weapons were semi-automatics. The shooting broke out on the dance floor. The suspects are 4 black males, 21 or younger. But the motive is still a mystery. The suspects still at large and very likely hiding behind several different identities.
If they're in the country illegally, you may have no record of that. If they have good fictitious identification, you may have a problem tracking down their real identification.
We're back now live at the scene where investigators have released this reminder from Crime Stoppers. If you have any information leading to the arrest of any of these gunmen, you could receive a cash award of up to $1,000. Now, one investigator I talked to today said they are getting so many different descriptions of these gunmen, it's almost impossible to put together a composite. But the good news is some witnesses are apparently talking to police. Reporting live from Northwest Dade, I'm Susan Kelleher. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Susan. Another story tonight, we're following Coral Springs police busting 5 men in what they're calling a racially motivated murder. The men are charged with second-degree murder for allegedly beating to death 19-year-old Luyen Fanuwin. A UM pre-med student was beaten over the head several times at a party Friday night. He died this morning. Now, police say the men attacked him simply because he was Vietnamese, no other reason. Coral Springs police are still baffled at the murder of a former school principal. Nathaniel Hankerson was found shot in the head in the trunk of his car in a Coral Springs shopping center parking lot Friday. His body was found after his car had been set on fire. Family members say they still don't know why anyone would possibly want to kill Hankerson. So, coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, why is the crime rate so high all of a sudden in Coral Springs? It's up 20% over last year in an area that seems so darn suburban. Is Coral Springs becoming a crime haven? Olga Villaverde looking into this story. We'll have it at 6.
It's the hot potato that nobody wants. The retrial of former Miami police officer William Lozano for manslaughter. A Dade judge today made a decision that passes the hot potato into the hands of somebody else. Channel 7's Michael Williams is live in our newsroom with this story. Michael?
Tallahassee, here they come again, maybe. And maybe it seems, Sally, is about the only answer you can get these days when it comes to a controversial case where no trial site ever seems certain. Former Miami policeman William Lozano will face retrial in Tallahassee for the deaths of 2 black motorcyclists if Judge Thomas Spencer has his way. The Dade judge thinks there's a better chance of seating black jurors there than in Orlando, which was the first site for the retrial. But wait, before the case can go back to the state capitol, there will have to be an appeal of the ruling of Tallahassee Judge William Gary. He refused the Lozano case last month, saying there was no basis for having it there. If all this is making you dizzy, you're not alone.
Judge Gary's order complained that Judge Spencer couldn't move the case on his own without a hearing. And what does Judge Gary's order do? He moves the case on his own without a hearing.
So now state prosecutors will try for an appeal that they hope will brush aside any roadblocks to having the case in Tallahassee. In the meantime, Lozano's lawyer, Roy Black, has already said that he objects to a process that he feels is one of merely shopping around for the area where people will feel there's a certain racial mix on the jury. He says that's not right, and it's something that he no doubt will argue in briefs he will file. So at this point, for a trial that is supposed to start till October 6th, there is still no certainty as to where it is in the end going to be held. We may not have an answer for a few more weeks. Michael Williams, Channel 7 News, reporting live from the newsroom.
All right, thank you, Michael. Now the latest on Metro Commissioner Joe Gersten. He is still maneuvering, trying to get out of giving a sworn statement to the Dade State Attorney. Gersten has filed an appeal to Dade Judge Amy Dean's order requiring him to answer questions. The State Attorney wants to hear what Gersten has to say about the theft of his car. Now, he has said it was stolen from his driveway, but 3 known criminals say that it was stolen from a crack house while Gersten was inside smoking crack and having sex with a prostitute.
The first tropical storm of the season has developed out in the Atlantic. Steve Adams is at the Weather Center right now. Steve, I understand this thing is very, very far away. Nonetheless, tell us about it. I think its name is Andrew.
That's right, Rick. Andrew is a tropical storm. It is way out in the middle of the Atlantic, not a danger to anybody right now, but of course, this time of the year, we want to start tracking these things and watching them very closely. The latest position on Andrew is located at latitude 13.4 north, longitude 45.3 west. That's about 1,050 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. Let's punch up the weather computer now, and I'll show you where we have it on the chart here. Here you go. This is Andrew right here. You can see it's pretty well out in the middle of the Atlantic, this being South America. The Lesser Antilles Islands right in this area here are the next obvious target for Tropical Storm Andrew as it continues to move toward the west-northwest at about 23 miles per hour. On this particular satellite image, it looks like a very small storm, but it is still gaining strength right now and will continue on this west-northwesterly course for the next little while. High sustained winds are 45 miles per hour, and those tropical storm force winds extend outward about 60 miles around the storm. Now, here's Florida, here's Andrew, Lesser Antilles, and there's a lot of space between us and Andrew right now. Not a whole lot to worry about, but we will continue to track it for you as it is gaining some strength, and more strengthening is possible the next 24 hours. Sally?
All right, thank you, Steve. Inside politics, a fired-up George Bush tells veterans he is going to fight irresponsible defense cuts. Bush brought down the House in Indianapolis when he announced he is nominating the VFW Commander-in-Chief as Assistant Secretary of Labor. Mr. Bush told the gathering he has a special concern for veterans and has a national strategy to train servicemen for civilian careers. Right now, Mr. Bush is in the air on his way to Houston, where he's going to receive his nomination for a second term to the presidency. The Republican convention kicked off in the Astrodome late this morning. Channel 7's Mark Ledner and Kelly Mitchell are there. We're going to start with Kelly, who is in the catbird seat watching what's going on. Kelly?
Well, Sally, not a whole lot going on here. They're taking a little break at the Astrodome. They'll be back in full session at 7 o'clock tonight. Now, the convention is about 6 hours old, but already one big factor has been taken care of. Apparently, there will not be any floor debate on the abortion issue. That was decided about 10:15 this morning. So that means that most definitely the platform will be accepted with the anti-abortion plaque intact. And that is a big important thing here. Also, it kind of means that prayers were answered for the GOP, if you want to put it that way, as they opened up their convention this morning. Now they can just go about their business, trying to enjoy the speeches and figuring out what they need to do to keep their man right there in the White House. Now, we're talking about the number 2 guy, Dan Quayle. He has already arrived for the big to-do, gone to several rallies, and he will continue to do those types of things all week long. And on Wednesday, Vice President Dan Quayle speaks to the Florida delegates. Even though the GOP has solved its abortion problem, it is still a very, very hot topic. This confrontation taking place in the designated protest area across the street. About 40 people arrested, and both sides say this kind of thing will be going on all convention long. But this event really does revolve around the delegates, and they, of course, are on the floor, and that's where Mark Ludner is with the Florida delegation, who's probably having dinner right now, Mark.
Kelly, they'll be back in a couple of hours for the night session. This is our third Republican convention, and never have we seen this sort of anxiety. The man at the top of the ticket, George Bush, is a serious underdog in the polls, and while the first round of parties has already been well underway, a lot of people here are wondering whether at the end of the week they'll have a lot to celebrate. Party time for the grand old party includes talking watermelon, strolling beer kegs, cacti that squirt margaritas, and a former Palm Springs mayor eager to share the enthusiasm. But seriously, folks, this is a jittery GOP assembling in the Astrodome this week. A New York Times CBS poll today shows George Bush still 17 points behind Bill Clinton. The Democrat leads 52 to 35%. When the Republican convention began 4 years ago, George Bush was only 7 points behind Democrat Mike Dukakis.
We're worried, and we better act worried. It's going to be a very tough campaign.
Miami delegate Al Cardenas acknowledges there's something to worry about, but others try to stay upbeat.
We're very positive. I mean, it's like we've heard nothing but negative, and now we're all together, and we all feel so great.
Miamian Jeb Bush runs his father's Florida campaign. He's trying to rally Republicans for the battle that follows this convention.
When you talk to your father, what does he say to you, father to son, presidential candidate to state campaign chairman, about the way this has been going?
I think when I've talked to him, I've sensed that he's been frustrated and not happy with how things have worked out to date, but he is very optimistic and very determined from this day forward to engage his opponent in a way that will bring about victory.
Predictable optimism as the grand old party hopes its Houston fiesta will bounce George Bush back into the lead of the presidential horse race. And as much as anything, this sums up the theme of the convention: stand by your man, or make that stand by your president. Another theme: media bashing. Look at this. Rather, meaning Dan Rather biased, and check out this T-shirt. You'll be seeing a lot of that, the press coming in for a lot of bashing. So, of course, Bill Clinton will be hearing a lot of that in days to come. Let's go back up to you in the sky booth.
Looks like the Cape Crusader there, doesn't it? Well, President Bush expected to hit town in about 15 minutes. We'll be back at 6 o'clock with more. Live from the Republican Convention in Houston, Texas, I'm Kelly Mitchell. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Kelly. As Kelly mentioned, we're going to have our Team 7 coverage continuing at 6 o'clock. Coming up, Kelly, on George Bush's adopted hometown. Is Bush really a Texan? And what do people in the Lone Star State think of Bush calling Texas home? And Mark Ludner is going to have the latest on the president's arrival in Houston. Team 7 coverage only on South Florida's news station.
Well, tonight, as the Republicans are off and running, at least two of them are doing so with, quote, sleaze. Two high-ranking party officials are blasting Clinton for his so-called affair. One Republican even called the governor, along with Henry Cisneros, the mayor of San Antonio, quote, nothing but a pair of skirt chasers. Mr. Bush said last week that he would fire anybody who engaged in sleaze in his campaign. So tonight the Democrats are saying, well, Mr. Bush, here's your chance. Fire them.
But I think today we have to find out if George Bush is really a leader, if we can trust him to tell the truth, if we can trust him to keep his word, or is he just a hollow man running a very hypocritical, very cynical campaign?
Well, we still have no word on whether the president will actually keep his promise and fire those two Republican officials. Is the United States ready to take military action against Iraq over UN weapons inspections? Glenna Milberg's been following that story now. She's at the news center where she's been monitoring the feeds for us. Glenna, hot story today, along with the convention, opportune time.
That's right, and today the New York Times reports the White House is ready to attack Iraq The White House says that's nonsense, and not knowing what to believe, Iraqi officials say they'll fight back. The report in the Times today says the president may be pushing for an attack on Saddam Hussein to boost his own popularity at this crucial campaigning time. But Mr. Bush says that is just not true. And it seems the Iraqi government isn't buying it either. In an interview yesterday, Iraq's ambassador to the UN called the rumors of selective airstrikes a, quote, black lie. But he says his country is prepared to retaliate.
We don't want to see any of our buildings to be destroyed. We would consider such an action as illegal, immoral, and an act of aggression, and we will defend ourselves in accordance with the UN Charter.
Well, all this posturing may be for nothing. UN inspectors in Iraq have finally completed a 10-day tour of weapon sites. They say they have found some important information. What that is, we don't know yet. So far, this seems to be diffusing some of the tensions between the U.S. and Iraq. That is for now. From the Satellite News Center, I'm Glenna Milberg. Now back to you.
And again, that's a New York Times report, which the White House is saying is not true.
Is your baby putting on too much weight? Planning to put him on a diet? Well, before you do, stay tuned for 7 News for Women. That's coming up.
Why would a man stab his wife more than 200 times? Well, we're going to bring you the gruesome answer just ahead.
And talk show host Geraldo Rivera in the middle of it again. Now his story can be told at 5:30.
You're watching Channel 7 News at 5 with Sally Fitz and Rick Sanchez.
In other words, hurry to your Florida Cadillac dealer. During our 92 closeout, you can enjoy $2,000 cash back on the remaining new 1992 sedan DeVilles. But remember, time flies.
Light. It is the first element of creation. Nothing brings it more elegantly or shapes it more beautifully than Andersen windows and patio doors. Come, live in the light of Andersen windows. Come home to Andersen.
Guiltless oversleeping, no schedule keeping, but please check your shoes at the shore and just let go. In the Keys, sunset walking, sunrise talking, feeling warm and easy again. Just let go in the Keys.
See your travel agent or call 1-800-FLA-KEYS. Hey, it's a free call.
I like the sound of a big juicy steak. Sizzler, sounds good.
Throw in a salad now, that sounds great.
Sizzler, sounds good.
Listen to this. A juicy sirloin steak and our all-you-can-eat salad bar. 2 big favorites together for a short time. For just $6.99.
I'm Steve Adams, the Channel 7 Weather Center. We have a tropical storm to tell you about and also some typical South Florida weather. Let's take a look first at the current conditions outside. Miami right now reporting 87 degrees, winds out of the west at 3, humidity at 78%. And around the country, we're going to tell you about Tropical Storm Andrew. It's still chilly along the East Coast and wet and rainy and all other sorts of messiness. And out in Colorado, they're having lots of thunder. First of all, let's take a look and see where Tropical Storm Andrew is. Right here, this little spiral, as you see right here in the middle of the picture, halfway out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's about 1,050 miles away from the Lesser Antilles, so it still has a long ways to go. It is possible, though, that the folks in the northern side of the Leeward Islands and on up into the Virgin Islands will be watching this very closely over the next little while. It is continuing to move toward the west-northwest at 23 miles per hour, which would put it on a track something like this. High sustained winds now are 45 miles per hour. And the latest position, latitude 13.4 north, longitude 45.3 west. Tropical Storm Andrew, we'll continue to watch it for you very closely. Now let's take a look at our live radar if we can and see what's going on outside right now. Not a whole lot, just a few scattered showers over on the west side, and our picture is going to stay pretty good for the night. Some partly cloudy scattered showers around, but very nice other than that. Around the state today, you can see on the satellite loop that we had a little bit of shower activity here, most of it well to the north of us, along with that front that's extended across the north. So for us, that means good weather the next little while. Let's take a look at the boating forecast for the boaters on Dayton-Broward coastal waterways. Winds will be out of the southeast at 10 knots. Seas will be 2 feet. Bay waters will have a light chop. And the long-range stretch says we're going to have a nice week here. High is going to be right around 90 degrees, and there'll be those scattered afternoon showers, interior sections, but very light, widely scattered. No heavy stuff that we can see right now. At least the systems that we have in our area right now indicate that we'll have some pretty nice weather. So, Rick, looks like we're okay. We'll continue to watch Tropical Storm Andrew as it progresses toward the west-northwest.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Well, here's a strange story. Firefighters spent 3 hours trying to rescue a Tampa man from a sinking mud hole. Kevin Spears was looking for a cable when he stepped in the rain-soaked hole. He wasn't even able to free himself, so he kept yelling as he sunk deeper and deeper into this hole. His screams were finally heard, and he was freed after 7 hours sitting in that deep hole.
A Pennsylvania man stabs his wife 219 times because he says he didn't like the way she kept the refrigerator. 61-year-old Joseph Fallett told police his wife always stacked the refrigerator full of vegetables, hiding the milk, and he wasn't going to take it anymore. Fallett is in jail, being held without bond.
If you're planning to put your baby on a diet, it could be a big mistake. That story on 7 News for Women.
And how about a weekend crash course for moms and dads on having a baby? Marilyn Mitzel has the answers in the 5:30 Healthcast.
You can always count on Sears Brand Central for all the top brand name electronics and appliances you want. No wonder more people buy more top brands from the store they trust. And now get a Tappan gas or GE electric range, both with easy clean cooktops. Your choice, just $399.99. Or get this 8-amp Eureka Powerline Gold upright vacuum for just $129.99 and save $20. Only at the store you trust. Sears Brand Central.
Just one look, and I knew, that you were the only one.
Let your fingers do the walking. All it takes is just one look in the Real Yellow Pages.
Just one look.
The Real Yellow Pages from Southern Belle.
Lynn Martinez live in the Channel 7 newsroom. Coming up on Channel 7 News at 5:30, a confessed serial killer sends eerie letters to his victims' families. A rare white tiger prepares for the battle of her life. And talk show host Geraldo lets his fists do the talking once again. Join me and Penny Daniels for these stories and a whole lot more on Channel 7 News at 5:30.
Okay, roaches, I know you're back.
Hot Shot now has a more powerful bug spray.
You're not.
With a new formula that kills bugs fast.
Not here.
And is practically odor-free, so you can breathe a lot easier.
Nope.
But best of all, it keeps them away up to 2 times longer.
Not even here?
So if you're expecting to find bugs, you won't.
Raisins.
New improved Hot Shot. Tough on bugs, easy on you.
I'm a man. You gonna leave. I'm a man, Gina. You know, this is childish.
What's the difference between being a man...
Step, I want you out. Step.
...and being a man in love? Fox presents Martin.
You won, right?
A what?
You won, damn.
A man in love.
Pick me up now. And don't forget your tie.
Martin, coming soon to Fox.
Let's talk fat. As we get older, most of us try to cut down on the amount of fat that we'd eat. You'd think that it would be good for babies, too, to try to get them started on the right track food-wise. Wrong. It turns out that babies need fat in their diet for development. New parents are getting a new message. Don't put your baby on a low-fat diet. In fact, the best food for babies, breast milk, is more than 50% fat.
We feel that it's very important for infants under 2 years of age to get adequate quantities of fat, and we very strongly recommend that parents do not restrict fat in children under 2.
If breast milk is not an option, most major brands of infant formula contain the same amount of fat found in breast milk. Research now lets scientists look at the balance of different kinds of fat in breast milk. It has a complex blend of more than 180 fats.
We believe that breast milk is the best model on which to base the fatty acid composition of our infant formulas.
Important points to remember during the first year of life. A baby's best source of nutrition is breast milk. Don't put your baby on a diet. If your baby looks too fat, consult your pediatrician. And if you don't breastfeed, iron-fortified infant formula is the best alternative. Avoid cow's milk during the first year. It contains fats and proteins difficult for babies to digest. Now, once your child is able to eat French fries and ice cream cones, it's a different story. That may be the time to start a low-fat education routine. It'll come in handy later in life, don't we all know?
Torrid letters reveal the innermost thoughts of a Florida killer.
He ends up kicked and cuffed, but that doesn't stop TV host Geraldo Rivera from getting into it with the KKK. The story's coming up at 5:30.
They've been called the most dangerous couple in America. But who were the real Bonnie and Clyde?
I never want you to leave me.
I promise. Now, for the first time, their true story is revealed in a world premiere motion picture. 12 people dead, and you had them in your sights. See how they became outlaws, lovers, legends.
You take whoever you need. Don't let them shoot first.
Bonnie and Clyde, the true story.
Tonight on the WSVN 7 Movie at 8.
It's stupendous. It's colossal. It's really big. It's McDonald's 79-cent Big Meal Deal. Buy a medium Coke and a large fry and get your choice of a Big Mac, McChicken sandwich, or a quarter pounder with cheese for only 79 cents. It's the 79-cent Big Meal Deal, now appearing at participating McDonald's.
I never saw anything like that before.
Don Johnson, Leslie Nielsen, Lonnie Anderson, Larry Hagman, James Woods, Stephanie Powers, Tom Skerritt, Tyne Daly. Everybody's trying to get in on the action on Barnaby Jones. Weekdays at 1 on WSVN 7. Kurt Russell, Susan Day, William Shatner, John Ritter, A. Martinez, Loretta Swit, Gavin McLeod, Edward James Olmos. Everybody's trying to get in on the action on Hawaii Five-0. Weekdays at 3 on WSVN 7.
Just in case somebody out there wants to change their life somewhat and become a clown, give up that old, boring life, put on a ridiculous outfit, and make people laugh. What's wrong with that? Well, if it's not so wrong, you can do it. Ringling Brothers and Barnum & Bailey Circus is holding clown auditions in Los Angeles this week. Hundreds of prospective circus clowns showed up to strut their stuff. Only the most talented clowns are going to be able to get picked for this greatest show on earth. So all you got to do is shine up your red nose and your big shoes and head on out to L.A. and get in on the clown auditions.
I want to see the winner.
It'll be fun.
That's Channel 7 News at 5.
Channel 7 News at 5:30 is next, so stay right where you are.
The families of 2 teenage murder victims get a message from the killer. In our Kids in School report, Florida college kids packing a lot more than just books for class.
I'm Channel 7 health specialist Marilyn Mitzel. Busy couples learn to have a baby in a weekend crash course.
And Geraldo using his fists to get his point across. These stories and much more just ahead on Channel 7 News at 5:30.
Monday night, it's a rave thing with Rosala, the queen of techno, performing live on stage on the next Arsenio.
Tonight at 11 on WSVN 7.
The American dream means something different to everyone. So at Chase Manhattan, experts will help select investments that are right for you. Options for an entire portfolio, from CDs to mutual funds, even global investments. Nearly 200 years have taught us that realizing our customers' dreams is the best investment we can make. Call 1-800-CHASE. Chase Manhattan. Profit from the experience.
When a muffler goes, some people look for a cheap replacement. Fact is, they can get a quality Midas muffler starting at $24.95. Don't believe anybody ever beats Midas.
A designer cotton shirt at fine stores, $32. The same shirt at Ross, $16. At Ross, the only difference is the price.
You're watching South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. This is Channel 7 News at 5:30.